I know y'all were there. 1 second, guys. What's up, guys? It's Mars Sports with Marshall. Yeah. Yeah, as you can see at the title of this video, we're going to make playoff predictions now. Just a warning for y'all that heads up, I might have to. I'm gonna eventually be eating dinner probably soon. So if I do have to take a break, if I do have to take a long extended break on stream, that's why. Oh, it's fun and toy. All right. Sorry, it's background noise. My dog barking. But yeah, today we're gonna make playoff predictions. It's that time of year again. I'm particularly excited about the playoffs this year. You know, the Saints aren't in it. Maybe because the Chiefs aren't in it this year. But it's been a great year for the NFL, I'll say. I'm pretty satisfied with what the playoffs are this year. You know, the Saints aren't in it. Yeah. But today we're gonna be making playoff predictions. Before we start doing that, though, I'm gonna actually react to my preseason predictions. I believe I made in May, like right when the schedules were revealed. So yeah, but I've not looked at it yet. All I know is I picked the Commanders to win the Super Bowl. I believe over the Chiefs. That did not happen, of course. Yeah. Yeah, guys. I'm about to pull up that stream. I've streamed a lot the last few months, so. So I'm just pulling up that old stream. My God, my hair was long back then. Yeah, I like this new haircut though. Will I keep it that way? Maybe. We'll see. Um, but I'll just make a quick point real quick. Just think about it on the way home. There are a lot of similarities to 2015 when it comes to the playoffs. Think about it. Denver's the number 1 seed. The Patriots are number 2 seed. The Super Bowl is in a milestone year. It's in Santa Clara at Levi Stadium. The Panthers are in the won the division and are in with a very young quarterback. The Seahawks are very good. There's a lot of striking similarities to 2015. I'll legit pull up the playoffs here right now. Not 2025, 2015. But Houston's in the playoffs. Pittsburgh is in the playoffs, barely. Yeah, a lot of striking similarities. Just saying, just looks a lot like 2015. I remember watching 2015. That's the first show I was truly watching football. But that's when like Manning was still there, Brady. I'm gonna show you all this bracket for 2015. Cause I think it's gonna be a good idea. On truly means. This is it right here. So there's a lot of similarities. The Super Bowl's at Levi Stadium. It's an awesome year. Denver's number 1 seed. New England's number 2 seed. Carolina won a division with a young quarterback. Granted, they're not as good as they were back then, obviously. Green Bay has a wild card spot. Seattle's in the playoffs. What else? An NFC West team has a bye. Granted, different formats, but still. Houston's in the playoffs. They got destroyed, damn. And Pittsburgh makes the playoffs in a close. Pittsburgh makes the playoffs with either the last with a and it was very close. So a lot of similarities, that's for sure. I'll tell you that for a fact. So when I tell you similar to 2015, I really mean it. That was because, like I said, that's the first year I started watching football. Yeah, I'm really excited this year, though. What told me, because these preseason ones be very interesting because I did not think the Chiefs, the Commanders. I was expecting the Chiefs, the Commanders, the Ravens, or the Lions to all miss in the same year. Considering, it's pretty insane that they're not very good considering they're usually very good. Well, at least had a very good last year. Yeah, but it's very interesting, very intriguing. It's almost like a rerun of 2015. Oh, another thing. The halftime performer, they both end with a Y. Coldplay and Bad Bunny. I figured I mentioned that. Why not? Yeah. You can start making some conspiracy if you want to. Don't do that, but yeah. But a lot of striking similarities to 2015, that's for sure. Yeah, but anyways, I'm gonna pull up this I'm gonna pull up everything that I made, all the predictions I made. We'll go over all teams because why not? But anyways, oh wow. But that's what I got correct and incorrect. For more. Yeah. Here, this is what I predicted last year in May. This stream in. Now I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. It's an hour and a half. May 14th, which was almost 8 months ago, way before the season started. So all right, let's do this. So I'm gonna pull up the standings on my phone. But oh wow. John Harbaugh just got fired. That is crazy. What? I was not expecting that. Wow. I was not expecting the Ravens to fire Harbaugh. That's crazy, bro. I don't even know if that's even the right move. It was a bad season with injuries, but what do I know? Clearly, a very short leash for the Ravens. I mean, I would have given him one more year, but still, I mean that shocks me honestly that they fired him. But he might be one that's on the market. It's like Mike Vrabel. He got fired from the Titans, and he did great at the Patriots this year. So yeah, but that's surprising. I did not think the Ravens would fire him, but I'm sorry, I just saw that. That's crazy though. I was not expecting that. A very weird year for firing so far. But Danny's real quick. So let's do this. Ow. Hard. So I said the Bills be number 1 seed with an 11-6 record. Well, they got a better record, but they're the number 6 seed because I was expecting more chaos this year, which I mean, to be fair, there was obviously, but I was expecting a lot more teams to lose to each other this year. I don't know why. Just I felt like something was in the air. Yeah, there's that. I can't predict a 6 loss, number 1 seed. And I had the Ravens at the number 2 seed. Obviously, they didn't make the playoffs. They're 8-9, and the NFC South fell off this year. Or the NFC North fell off this year. No, AFC North fell off this year. I'm sorry. And then the Chiefs at the number 3 seed. I knew they'd probably take more losses this year. I was not expecting that record to be mirrored because they went 6-11 and didn't even make the playoffs. That surprises me. Like the fact that Chiefs missed the playoffs shocks me. Like that's crazy. And at the Texans number 4 seed, 9-8 records. I didn't think the South would be that good this year. I mean, I'll be honest. They had 2 very good teams, and honestly 3 before Daniel Jones got injured. But Houston, while they did not win the division, they did win. They did win more games this year. 12 wins, because I was kind of like, what? That's like down them last year, but yeah, somehow some things went down. Just did not see them doing great. That's good, I guess. Yeah. And the Bengals are number 5 seed. Burrow's injury definitely period that. They went 6-11 this year. The Chargers had going 9-8, and I mean, they got the 6th seed. They got the 7th seed. We're not taking the 6-7 references into 2026, but they were 11-6. They're the 7th seed. But yeah, the seed was a little lower, but the record was better. Had the Broncos at number 7. I knew they'd probably be decent this year. I did not think they'd win the freaking AFC. Good for them. But I do miss Sean Payton though. Hey, I think Kellen Moore's got potential. Yeah. Broncos at number 1 seed. It's 14-3. It's a very good year for them so far. Now the NFC. At the Commanders winning the division, the number 1 seed, they were 5-12 this year. They completely fell off a cliff. But a lot of injuries on that team did not help. So yeah. At the Lions, 11-6, number 2 seed. I knew they'd probably take a little bit of a tumble. I think they're probably a little less good than they were last year or last season because they lost both their coordinators. They went 9-8. They were a little bit disappointed this year. I gotta admit. I mean, they weren't bad. They're a decent team, but I'm expecting to go further. Granted, Dan Campbell goes for it too much. Unfortunately, I know it's a hot take, but still. I know that's what he's known for, but still. At the Bucks number 3 seed winning the division. By the way, the NFC North was really freaking good this year. I just realized today there was no team with a losing record in that division. The Bucks are number 3 seed. They had potential. They're doing great. They fell off a cliff. And they finally showed up. It was too late. Because the Falcons put you out in the playoffs. So, and the Panthers of all teams won a division. With a losing record, ironically. And the Buccaneers went 8-9. So it wasn't terribly far off. But still. Bucks were really good and they fell off a cliff. Yeah. Similar to the Colts. And the Rams had win the West this year. They didn't win the West, but the West, besides the Cardinals, the West is very, very good this year. You have 3 teams with at least 12 wins in that division. That's a really, really good division this year. They got second. They're the second. They got the 5th seed, so it wasn't terribly far off. But that's a really good division this year. Like, they're really freaking good. And but they got a better record though. They were 12-5 this year. Maybe they can make a run at the game. We'll see. For the Super Bowl. And then the Eagles, I had going 12-5. They went 11-6. I had them as a wild card team, but they ended up winning the division because the rest of the East wasn't that good this year. I mean, Cowboys weren't terrible, but their defense was not very good. But Eagles, while they've had inconsistencies in offense this year, they've still been a great team. Yeah. But, I mean, they lost a little more games than I thought, but yeah. Still a great year for them. At Green Bay, and then at the 6th seed, with a 10-7 record, I was very close to predicting that record correctly. If they would have beat the Cowboys, then they would have I would have predicted the record correctly. But I did predict the amount of losses correctly. They got 7 losses. But they went 9-7-1. How am I supposed to predict that correctly? But they're a great team this year. No, they kind of fell down the stretch a little bit. They haven't been as good lately, but they've been a good team this year. And they're the 7th seed again. That's the 3rd year in a row they're the 7th seed. So, I mean, it's kind of like a normal thing for them at this point. Yeah. Shout out to Tom Grassi, by the way. And then number 7 seed out of the Vikings. I will say this. I predicted their record correctly. They went 9-8 this year. But they did not make the playoffs, though. I was not terribly far off, but Green Bay was a better team this year. Green Bay's tie helped them get in. So yeah, but the Vikings, though, they had the same record, but did not make the playoffs. So I got their record correct. I just did not get their playoff appearance correct, or lack thereof, I guess. So yeah. Now moving on. I'm done. Jesus. Patriots, I said we'll go 9-8. They definitely had a bounce back year. I knew they had a bounce back year, but not expecting to go at the 2nd seed in the playoffs. But yeah, the Dolphins, I said they go 7-10. They did go 7-10. The Jets, I said, was 6-11. They went 3-14, so not very good. The Ravens, I said, would go 11-6. We talked about this, right? They did not. They went 8-9, which is very unusual for the. No wonder why. I guess that's why they fired him. Probably go in here instead. Yeah, they did not live up to expectations this year like they usually supposed to. Yeah. Bengals, I said, would go 10-7. Burrow's injury, obviously. I said Pittsburgh would go 5-12. This is kind of a bold one because Pittsburgh is usually a good team. This was before Aaron Rodgers was signed. This is under the influence that Rodgers might not be their quarterback. But like I at that point, I probably said like, okay, I think he will, but I have my doubts. They won a division. They went 10-7. So typical Pittsburgh. But I swear, I'm gonna make a prediction. Pittsburgh, the moment they have a losing season, they're gonna fire Mike Tomlin. I don't know why. I just have a weird feeling they're gonna do that. Because if they ever have one at this rate, because they're very consistent. They're like the most consistent team in the NFL. They're always a good team, but they're not always there to take the next step. Yeah. The Browns said we go 5-12. I mean, they did. They went 5-12. They weren't very good this year. The Texans said we go 9-8. They went 12-5, like I said. The Jaguars said we go 8-9. I knew they'd improve. I did not expect them to win the division, though. So good for them. They went 13-4, and they're one of the best teams in the league this year. Yeah, there's that. The Colts said we go 7-10. They were 8-9, so I was close. So I did not expect them to fire off really well, but they fell down the stretch with some injuries. I'll tell you that for a fact. In Tennessee, I said would go 7-10. They went 3-14, so not very good. Kansas City, like I said, I already did Kansas State in LA and Denver. Raiders still go 8-9. I didn't think they'd be that good this year with Carroll. I did not expect them to go 3-14 and immediately fire Carroll through that. But they had the number 1 draft pick, so yeah. In the NFC, I already got through the top 2 teams in the East. I said the Cowboys go 8-9. They were very close going 8-9. Like if they would have beat the Packers, they would go 8-9. They went 7-9-1. Again, how am I supposed to predict that? I only predicted 1 tie ever for some reason. And then the Giants are go 4-13. They did go 4-13. And then I said that I already got those top 3 teams in the North. I said the Bears go 8-9. I knew there'd be improvement. I didn't expect them to win the division, though. I mean, what a year it's been for them. 11-6 was their record, and they did much better than I thought. I knew they'd do better this year, but I didn't think they'd be like lighting the world on fire. But hey, good for the Bears, man. The one NFC North team I did not predict to make the playoffs, won the division. But yeah, let's go. Who was expecting the Bears to be that good anyway? All right. Bucks, Falcons, I still go 9-8. They went 8-9, so I was very close. They just they can be good teams. They can also lose the bad teams. They can also get shut out by the Panthers. Yeah, but they fired Raheem Morris, which I mean, they just can't. They didn't need. They're cleaning the house from what I can tell. But yeah, they might as well at this point. Carolina said go 8-9. They did go 8-9, but I did not see them making the playoffs though. But hey, look where they are now. They won a division, but they're 8-9. But you know, at least it's not the Bucks. Then I said the Saints would finish last in the division. They did finish last in the division. I said 7-10. I said that team would be better as the season went along. They did. That was actually pretty accurate. They went 6-11. I mean, they could have. I was very close to predicting that correctly. They had some games they could have won this year. Yeah, but if they would have won more, if they actually would have had one of those games go their way that they lost, they could have been in the playoffs. So yeah, but because we would have gotten over Carolina, bro. Like Carolina, like we swept freaking Carolina. What do I know? We swept Carolina this year somehow when they're now in the playoffs. So yeah, but Saints, I mean, they have a bright future ahead of them. I think Tyler Chuck's a good quarterback. Yeah, he's a great quarterback. And the Rams, I said the Seahawks would go 8-9. I just had a weird feeling they're probably gonna like they lost some people, so like I figured they'd drop off a little bit because they lost the receivers. No, they are the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're 14-3. They're one of the best. They are arguably the best team in the league this year. So yeah, I was kind of wrong on that prediction. Cardinals still go 8-9. I mean, the Cardinals they looked fine to start, but then they had so many injuries, and then they went 3-14, and Jonathan Gannon got fired. So yeah, the Cardinals have not been good in years. So let's be real. And San Francisco, I said we go 7-10. I mean, I just did not know what to expect considering the free agency chaos that happened with them. But they had a bounce back year. They went 12-5. I was at 12-15. 12-5, and they made the playoffs. And they got the 6 seeds. Yeah. Anyways, there's that. But now I'm going to move on a little bit to where I actually predict the Super Bowl.
Vikings, I think that
Yeah, it's back in the
much improved. I don't think
and an actual computer.
Definitely, they are going to. I think they're still going to.
Yeah, whatever, bro. Stop yapping. Let's go.
Pittsburgh, I'm sorry. I just don't believe in it. I know
Dan, how fast did I make these predictions?
the Ravens take down.
All right, I said
And I think
that, blah, blah, blah. None of that's true because I didn't gain the matchups correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Bengals.
No,
I'll take conference
no,
champion.
no,
I have my Super Bowl pick in my Super Bowl champion.
No, the Commanders not win the Super Bowl. And I was right. I predicted. So, yeah, my predictions weren't great. I mean, how I predict correctly actually make the playoffs. I didn't predict any of the seeding correct. I'm pretty sure. I did not predict any of the seeding correct. I don't know how that happened, but what do I know? I said I got the Bills correct. This is people actually teams making the playoffs. The Bills, Broncos, the Chargers, the Texans, the Rams, the Eagles, and the Packers. So I got half the teams at least in the playoffs. So that's something. But overall, did not do great on predictions. But who would have thought this was the year we'd get? Yeah. Anyways, let me pull up Pro Football Network. Whatever it's called. And we're gonna predict the playoffs, shall we? So we'll do mock drafts once the season ends. Maybe we can do it earlier. Let's see. Look at the screen one more time. Sorry. And there you go. Pull this up real quick. I'll go over here so I can actually see what I predicted. Actually, I'll do this. Look at this beautiful image, or this not so beautiful image one more. Now, look at this image. This is the real playoffs here, my friends. Anyways, let's see if I can do this. I actually already made predictions ahead of time. I just want to send them in case, I forget them. Yeah. Because I already did my analysis during school, but I want to show you all my predictions now. I sent an email to myself on the freaking sorry. All right, let's see. Hey, sorry, I'm trying to freaking find this. Freaking bracket. There we go. Y'all can't see my bracket, so y'all aren't gonna look at it. Okay. So I already have this pulled up because I don't want to make the wrong predictions without knowing. So anyways, let's do this. So if y'all watch me for years now, if y'all watched my 2023 playoff prediction video, I actually predicted every single wild card game correctly, 6 for 6. It was the 2023 playoffs, and that's the only time I've ever predicted the wild card game that accurately. Really, anything in my for that matter like that, and not big of a scale. So yeah. So I mean, I haven't done that since then, but hey, we'll see what happens. Yeah. Anyways, I think this would be tougher to predict. I think actually the teams are a lot better this year. Not that they weren't good back then, but still. Anyways, let's do this. Starting off with the Chargers versus the Patriots. Chargers, man. I mean, I'll say this. They're usually consistently in it. Like, I know that they had that one bad year where they fired Brandon Staley, and to be fair, that was one bad year. I'm not trying to defend. Well, I'm not trying to how do I put this? I'm not defending him because he's the Saints' decent defensive coordinator. Sorry, I said defensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. But I mean, I will admit he has made the playoffs back then. Yeah, I think Jim Harbaugh brought some life back to that team. So yeah, but the Chargers, they're very good this year. I think they swept the Chiefs. And they had a few losses this year that were weird, like that Giants loss was kind of weird. But Justin Herbert's been balling out this year. I mean, they're back in it again. I feel like the 17 makes sense for them. I mean, they could have won a division, but they're still a great team this year. And I think they'll be very competitive in this game. So yeah, this was actually one of the best one of the best 7 seeds I've seen. Yeah, granted, it's only like the 6th time we've had a 7 seed. No, I'm not making another 6-7 reference, but at least on purpose. But Chargers have been great this year. Let's see Chargers schedule. I can actually search that a lot easier on here compared to my school laptop. I mean, here's some of the teams Here's some of the notable teams they beat this year. They beat the Chiefs twice. One time out of country, one time at Kansas City. They also beat the Broncos. Then they ended up losing them, but that was with their backups, to be fair. And then but they had some weird losses, though. I will say that. I'll go over the wins. They also beat the Steelers. They beat the Vikings. Yeah, they also beat the Eagles. And then they they also beat, I guess, the Cowboys. Yeah, but they've been inconsistent at points. Like their losses this year, I probably gotta pull up a better way to look at this, in my opinion, just because it's kind of hard to see whenever it's like that. You don't see how it looks like, but it's not clear to find on where everything is. At least for me. But yeah, what the frick? All right, the Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers, Los Angeles. So they're 11-6. Okay, so their losses came to New York Giants, that was a weird loss, I will say, considering the Giants kind of suck this year. Although the Giants got 2 wins over 2 good teams, I will say. 2 playoff teams, the Chargers and the Eagles that one time. Then who was the other team they beat? I'm pretty sure. Oh, it's the Raiders. Yeah, I forgot. Almost forgot about that. It was a few weeks ago. They also lost to the Commanders. I think that was before all the injuries happened, though, to be fair. They also lost to the Colts. That's before all their injuries happened. They also got demolished by the Jaguars. Uh, and then they lost to the Texans in the close game. They also lost to Denver with their backups. Yeah. But Chargers overall been a great team this year. I think they could be a very competitive as a 7 seed. So yeah, and then shoot. Ah, God damn. The Patriots, on the other hand, have they played each other this year, by the way? No, they have not. The Patriots have been great this year. This is the best they've looked since probably 2018, in my opinion. Like, this is the best they've looked since Brady's been there. At least since before Brady left, I guess. Yeah, they've been very good this year. They had that loss against the Raiders, which was weird. That was the first game of the season, to be fair. And then they also lost to the Steelers in a close game in the Buffalo. All their losses came within 7 points, or at the most 7 points. Yeah, but in that Bills win was actually a split series. Yeah, but so they had a crazy winning streak that lasted for months. Yeah, but here's some of the teams they beat this year are notable. They beat the Panthers in the playoffs. They beat Buffalo. They also beat the Buccaneers, the Falcons. I'm not going over every team just because it'll take forever. Uh, they beat Baltimore. Yeah, those are the best wins this year, we'll say. So, yeah. But I think that it'll be a very good game. And ironically, the Patriots have not lost a single road game, which is pretty impressive. But 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 overall, though, God dang, I think this will be a close game. And Drake May, by the way, has been balling out this year, man. He deserves at least a shot at MVP. He might honestly deserve the MVP at this point. So yeah, and especially like Mike Vrabel, man. Credit to him. I mean, I know he got fired from the Titans, but that just shows you the Titans have more problems than coaching. Or showing that coaching wasn't the problem. It's the whole thing. Yeah, but I'm gonna say the Patriots are gonna win that game. Now moving on, the Jaguars versus the Bills. I think this would be a great game. I think both these teams could honestly have legit shots at making it all the way. So yeah, but a lot of these teams, but this would be a great game. Buffalo's a 6 seed's kind of weird, but like they had a few weird losses though. But they've been really good this year. They're 12-5. Their losses come against their first game against New England, and they're on New England's great road. They also lost to the Falcons, which is weird. Well, Falcons are inconsistent though. Let's be real. They can be good teams. They can also lose the bad teams. They also lost to Miami in kind of a weird game. That's a big number in the year. And then they lost to the Texans in a close game. They also lost to Eagles in a 1-point game where they're kind of invisible to the fourth quarter, at least offensively. But yeah. But the notable wins this year that come against the Ravens in that close game. They had that comeback win, of course. Yeah, they also beat. They did end up beating the Dolphins earlier in the season. I will say that. They also beat the Patriots later in the season. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Moss, the Panthers. They also beat Tampa Bay. They beat Pittsburgh and a handily. They also beat. Yeah, those are the best wins this year. So yeah, but Josh, I think honestly they're putting the chip on their shoulder at this point because they're just so used to losing the playoffs. Yeah, By the way, these Jacksonville and Buffalo have not played each other yet this year. But Jacksonville, on the other hand, they've been great this year. They're 13-4. Liam Cohen, I mean, he made the right decision to leave Tampa Bay. I'll tell you that right now. But, I mean, their only losses this year come against the close game against Cincinnati before Joe Burrow got injured. That might have been the game he actually got. I don't know. I think he got injured later on, though. The Seahawks in a close game. That Seahawks team is very good, though. They also got crushed by the Rams Wembley. But I mean, that was probably the worst game this year. They also lost to the Texans in a close game, but that they beat them earlier in the season, and then they won every game since then. Yeah, I mean, they've been great this year, but their best wins comes against the Panthers. They beat them up pretty well. They beat the Texans earlier this season. They also beat the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Raiders. They beat the crap. Well, the Raiders was a close game. It was in overtime. They beat up the Chargers. They also beat Indy. That's around the time they fell off, though. Did they sweep Indy this year? Yes, that's to be fair injuries. That was after Deion Jones got injured. Yeah, both those games. They also beat the Broncos this year. I mean, this team's very good. I mean, I could definitely see this team go really far. Now, I originally picked the Bills. But you know what? I'm starting to change. I'm actually going to say Jacksonville wins. I don't know why. I just have a weird feeling that Jacksonville's going to win. I don't know why. I originally picked the Bills. They're actually in my Super Bowl, but I think the Jaguars, man, they got a strong case. I'm just saying. I had a change of heart. Now we have the Texans versus the Steelers. I'll tell you what, man, those Texans have looked great this year. Like they had a like I knew they'd be a good team still, even though they lost like a lot of games to start the season because they were the 5 very good teams, well at the time at least. They lost a close one to, and they're all very close. Lost a close one to LA. Lost a close one to Tampa Bay before Tampa Bay fell off. There was also a very close one to Jacksonville. They also lost a close one to Seattle, and they lost a close one to Denver. So a lot of very good teams that they lost to. Even though in the Tampa Bay was good at times when they fell off. Yeah. But their biggest wins this year, they beat some really good teams, man. I'll tell you what. Like they beat the crap out of the Ravens. Granted, I think that's when Lamar was injured, but still. They beat San Francisco by 11 points, which means San Francisco is a great team. And such, yeah. And then they also beat the Jaguars later in the season. They beat the Bills, and they also beat the Colts. They beat Kansas City by more than one score, which most teams can't say they did that. They had a few close games. They had that one close game against the Raiders. Can play close, though, we'll say. In LA, I will say that was a great win too. They beat the Chargers, and they beat the Colts twice actually. But yeah, even with their backups, they beat the Colts. I'm pretty sure. But they're playing the Steelers. Steelers, on the other hand, Steelers are the Steelers. It's like they're always pretty good, but they're inconsistent. Like they have 7 losses, which are the Seattle, and kind of a 2-score game. Well, not just kind of. It is a 2-score game. Close one in Cincinnati. That's before Burrow got injured. Pretty sure. Lost with the Green Bay. Lost the Chargers. Barely lost to the Bears. Got beat up by the Bills, and they also lost to the Browns for some reason. Why did it say that they haven't played that Ravens game yet? What the heck? I don't know, but they beat the Ravens last week. Yeah, they beat the Ravens actually twice. Of course, that missed field goal definitely helped them. They also beat the Lions. That was a very weird ending to that game, though. The other big ones this year, they beat the Bengals at second time. That's Burrow injured though. They beat the Colts before Daniel Jones went down, and they beat the Browns during the season. They also beat the Vikings and the Patriots. I guess they beat the Jets during the season, but yeah. But overall, though, I forgot that Aaron Rodgers' first game as a Steeler was against the Jets. Overall, though, I'm actually going to say Texans win. Texans are peaking at the right time. I'll tell you that for a fact. Now for the NFC. An amazing freaking game on their hands. It's 2 versus 7. It's a big rivalry. You get to see these two teams play again. It's the Bears versus the Packers. Packers, man, I'll tell you what. They've looked good at points this year, but they are on a 4-game losing streak, to be fair. Like, they look great to start the season. Like, they had that big win against they beat Detroit handily. They beat Washington before Jay Daniels got injured, and then they lost to Cleveland, which was kind of weird. But then they tied against the Cowboys in the Micah Parsons revenge game. Which they really get revenge? I don't know. Guess there's revenge that the Cowboys didn't win. But yeah. But like they end up being like some of the teams they beat, like the Bengals. I'm pretty sure that was after Burrow and I don't know, around the same time. They beat the Cardinals and then they beat the Steelers. They had like a 3-game winning streak. And they beat Pittsburgh in the Aaron Rodgers revenge game, which did not get revenge. But then they lost to the Panthers and the Eagles, both by 3 points apiece. So yeah, both at home for some reason. And then they won their next 4 games: Giants, Vikings, and the Lions and the Bears. And then they lost their last 4 games. They lost to Denver, they lost to Chicago in overtime. They lost to the Ravens and lost to the Minnesota Vikings. So I will admit, they're very streaky this year. They're very inconsistent. They're up and down. Yeah, they're taking on the Bears. The Bears have been a great team this year. It's the best year they've had in a long time, that's for sure. They lost their first 2 games, and they kind of got blown out by the Detroit Lions. But then they really turned it on from there. They beat the Cowboys and the Raiders in a 4-game winning streak against the Cowboys, Raiders, Commanders, and the Saints. And they did lose to the Ravens, though. I believe that's when Lamar was injured. But they've gotten better since he's gone along. They had a 5-game winning streak against, which included wins over like the Vikings, the Steelers, and the Eagles. That was a huge win for them. And then they actually lost to Green Bay at Lambeau. Then they beat them at Lambeau 2 weeks later. And then they lost the last 2 games, but in close games, though, to the 49ers and the Lions. Those are actually good teams. I know the Lions weren't as good this year, but the 49ers were great. That was a great game, too, against 49ers. But overall, though, I do think Bears are the better team at the moment, so I'm going to take them to win. And now I got the 49ers taking on the Eagles. The 49ers, man, give them all the credit this year with all the they might have done weird free agency stuff. I'll tell you what, that team has been great this year. Like, they went 12-5 in a very tough division. Their best wins, I guess they split series with Seahawks. Yeah, they split the series with the Seahawks. First game and the last game, ironically. What a way. Start the season and the season, the same team. Yeah. And then they also swept the series. They also split the series with the Rams, and then they also swept the Cardinals. It was a close game originally, and then once I got injured, it was a blowout. Yeah, some of their best wins this year, though, besides all those, they lost this game against Jacksonville. Close game. That's a great Jacksonville team, though. They also lost to the Buccaneers before they fell off a cliff. They had an inconsistent streak of win-loss. At one point, the Texans they also lost to the Texans. They're in the playoffs, though. Also lost to the Rams. But they ended the season on a 3-game winning streak. One of those teams is in the playoff. Or no, not a 3-game. They actually had a 6-game winning streak, and then they lost to the Seahawks. But yeah, they've been great this year, though. It's weird that they're the 6th seed, but what do I know? That just shows you how competitive that freaking division is this year. But they have the best wins come against the Rams in Inglewood, by the way. They also beat the Falcons, which, I mean, that's something at least. They also beat Carolina, and they beat the Colts when Phillip Rivers was there, and also beat Chicago. Chicago might be their best win. Or Chicago is definitely one of their best wins this year. They're taking on the Eagles, and the Eagles have been great this year. I mean, they're not as good as they were last year, in my opinion. Like, they lost a few other games, but they've been good. I mean, they have been streaky at points. Like, they had 2 losses in a row to the Broncos and the Giants somehow. And then they also had 3-game losing streak against the Cowboys, the Bears, and the Chargers. And also lost to the Commanders. So they're off. The Commanders was with their backups. But I will say the Eagles, though, they're inconsistent on offense, though. Their offense hasn't been great this year, I gotta admit. Like, I know it's a breaking year for him, but still, because Kellen Moore left. But yeah, their best wins this year. I mean, they split the series with the Cowboys, I guess, and they split series with the Commanders, which yeah, and then they also split the series with the Giants. So they split a lot of series. They're 3-3 in the division, so that's kind of weird. Yeah, the division wasn't great this year. Now, their best wins come against the Chiefs and Arrowhead. They keep their Super Bowl legacy up at that point. And then they also beat the Rams. They beat the Bucks. That was in 3 games in a row. They also beat that after they beat the Cowboys in Week 1. They also beat the Vikings. I mean, they beat a good team this year. They beat the Packers in a very weird game. They beat the Lions, and then they also shut out the Raiders, by the way. And then they also did the Raiders beat the Chiefs and they got shut out by the Chiefs. Oh my god, that's actually true. No way. Never say never about anything. And then they also beat Buffalo at Buffalo. So yeah, they have been a great team. They've been streaky, but yeah, overall though, I think that'd be a great game. I will say the Eagles win. Home field at the Eagles is huge for them. So yeah. And now the Panthers versus the Rams. Now, by the way, here's the thing with these two teams. Um, they actually play each other, and surprisingly, the Panthers were actually won that game. So the Rams, I will say, that game was in November. It wasn't that long ago. So, but Rams have been a weird team this year. I will say they're 12-5. They've been great this year. But yeah, their losses come against a close one against Philly, and then an overtime loss against San Francisco, and a 3-point loss to Carolina, and an overtime loss to Seattle, and also a 3-point loss to the Falcons. So 4 of those 5 teams made the playoffs. So they're losing at least valid competitions. Yeah. But the best wins against this year, they beat against the Texans, the Colts. That was when the Colts were smashing everyone at that point. They beat the Ravens. They crushed Jacksonville in their second home, aka London. They also beat up the 49ers their first game. Did they sweep the 49ers? No, they did not, but they won. They also beat the Seahawks earlier this season. They split the series with them. They also swept the Cardinals. They beat Tampa Bay by a lot. That's when Tampa Bay started to fall off, though, to be fair. They beat Detroit. Yeah, they've been good this year. But that Carolina loss, we'll see if that sticks with them. So, yeah. And that was at Carolina. Guess where they at? Carolina. The Carolina Panthers, they've actually not done terrible this year. They've actually been okay for the most part. They've been very, very inconsistent, though. Like, they lost 9 games. Yes, they have a losing record because NFC South sucks every year. But the losses come against a bad loss against a 16-point loss against the Jaguars, close loss Arizona before everyone got injured. They got crushed by the Patriots. They got crushed by the Bills. They got swept by the Saints, by the way. Somehow. I'm not complaining, though. They lost to the 49ers. Their offense going to get rolling. They also lost to Seattle. And that game was close for a bit until after a while. They also lost to Tampa Bay. That game was very rainy good. But overall, they do have some good wins though. Like they swept the Falcons, including a shutout victory against them, 30-0. They also beat the Cowboys. They beat Green Bay. They also beat the Rams, which is big, and they also beat Tampa Bay earlier this season, or a few weeks ago. Not this most recent one, but the one before that. So overall, Panthers can play good. They can also play really badly though. So I think the Rams will get their revenge. So yeah. Now moving on. The Texans versus the Broncos. This will be a great game. I think both these teams are very good this year. The Texans have these two teams play each other? Let's talk about the Texans real quick. I'm trying to see if they play each other. I don't think they have, but never say never. Never say never. Okay. The Houston Texans. 2025. Did they play each other? Yes, they did, actually. It was actually a very close loss at NRG. It was a 3-point loss, and the Broncos beat them. So, yeah. Broncos, on the other hand, though, That team's been really freaking good this year. This is the best it looked since before Manning retired. This is the best it looked since 2015. Yeah, but ironically, like we were talking about earlier. But Broncos only have 2 losses, and 2 of those losses came in the first 3 games against a very good Colts team at the time and the Chargers. They also lost to the Jaguars and that was probably the worst game this year. Yeah, they beat some good teams this year. They had some ugly wins, yeah. Yeah, of course they had that 33-point comeback in the fourth quarter to beat the Giants. But yeah, the best teams they beat this year, they beat Cincinnati 20-3. I think that's before Burrow got injured. They beat the Eagles, they actually gave them their first loss in a long time. They also beat the Cowboys. They beat the Texans. And then they barely beat the Raiders twice, but I mean, that is what it is. Raiders can play teams close. They beat the Chiefs twice. Uh, they beat the Commanders in overtime. Uh, they also beat the Packers. And yeah, they beat the Chargers. That was with their backups, but still. But Denver's been a great team this year. They've had some weird wins this year, but they've been great, man. I'll tell you what. That team looks the best since Manning retired. I'm telling you right now. Overall, though, I'm actually going to say Houston wins this matchup. I think they're peaking at the right time. I know the Broncos haven't only lost 1 game in the last few months, but still, I do think the Texans might actually get their revenge. Plus, it's the Texans. They're probably looking for revenge. Now I got the Patriots versus the Jaguars. Jaguars, man, they've been great this year. Have these 2 teams played each other? No, they have not. But both these teams have very strong cases to win, and I think this would be a great game. Overall, though, I'm actually gonna say I don't know who they lost to. This would be a very good game, though. I'm very split, honestly. This could be a great game. This would be a very close game. But the Patriots, what are they up to? I am gonna say the Patriots are going to win this game. I think it'll be close though. Now we have the NFC. We have the Rams and Seahawks, a rematch again. So anything can happen this game. I believe they're a split series. The Seahawks, man, they've been amazing this year, bro. Like the fact that they've been this good this year shows you how good the 2024 Saints would have been. They all did not get injured. They didn't all get injured, but the Clint Kubiak offense right there. Shout out to Clint Kubiak, by the way. They've been great this year. The only 3 losses come to San Francisco, Tampa Bay, and LA. And to be fair, 2 of those teams they ended up beating this season still. The one team they did not beat at all was the Buccaneers. Yeah, my mom's calling. Frick, that probably means dinner's not ready. Hello? Okay. Love you too. Dinner is ready. Okay, but I'll pick this one. I'll be back. Okay. But they've been amazing this year. Their best wins come against Pittsburgh. They also crushed the Saints. I remember watching that game. It was torturous. They also beat the Cardinals before they got injured. They beat the Jaguars. They beat the Texans. The Commanders. They beat up the Commanders too early in the season. They shut out the Vikings. And they also beat up the crap out of the Falcons. Beat the Colts in a close game. That's Philip Rivers' first game, by the way. They also beat the Rams in overtime. They also beat Carolina and San Francisco. They've been really good lately. I think this will be a close game because they're on a 7-game winning streak as we speak. Overall, I'm going to say Seahawks win. Anyways, I will be right back. I will be back in like 20 minutes, okay? Y'all just hang tight. All right, put this on the black screen real quick. Dan Don E D D D D D D D D D. Okay, perfect. All right, bye guys. I'll be back. Hey guys, I'm back. Hope y'all enjoyed my 18 minutes and 54 seconds of being gone. Anyways, let's do. I just read how long the videos are going on. On the black screen video because I always put on a black screen video just because so to keep the computer running so the stream doesn't end. So yeah, plus I don't want and just make it look like it's off. So yeah. Anyways, let's do this. Now I got the Eagles versus the Bears. Eagles, I'll tell you what, this team is really good. Don't get me wrong. But I gotta say, their offense has not been great this year. It's clearly rebuilding year without Kellen Moore. I mean, they've had some good games, but like I will say, they're going against Ben Johnson and the Bears, and they lost them last time by 9 points at Lincoln Financial. So I think with this being at the Bears Stadium, I'm actually going to say the Bears are going to win again. So yeah. Okay, he left. Okay. Hold on. Hey, you're being distracted right now. Sorry. Leonard, can you stop following me? Leonard, stop following me. Fine. I probably cannot show this on camera. It's my address on here. Sorry, bro. You gonna chew again? Okay, just do your thing, okay? Good boy. I wasn't trying to be mad, just trying to do a stream. I love my dog. He can be obsessive sometimes. It's fine though. I love him though. Anyways, moving on. Texans and the Pats. I'll tell you what, man. Both these teams have been great this year. They both had long winning streaks. So yeah, I think both these teams have a very good shot at winning. Honestly, winning all. In my opinion, I mean, I will admit, I originally had the Bills and the Texans here, but I changed my mind on the Bills. I'm probably gonna regret. I might regret that, but who cares? You better not let me down. You better not let me down. Whoever I picked. You better not let me down, Jaguars. Yeah, but where the heck is the freaking pay? Okay, we'll do schedule comparison. Both these teams have been very good this year. Patriots have been. I mean, both these teams are surprisingly like towards the top this year. Like we knew that the Texans would be pretty good. No one expected the Patriots to be this good, man. And honestly, no one expected the Texans to be this good either. So DeMeco Ryans did an amazing job with that organization. Like I will say, the Texans haven't lost a game since November 2nd. They beat some really good teams too. And the Patriots, they've lost one game in the last few months. So there's a lot at stake here, and I think it's going to be a very good game. Overall, though, I'm actually going to say the Texans win. They're peaking at the right time. I believe I actually picked the Texans win the Super Bowl 4 years ago. I'm not saying I will right now for this video, but yeah. Anyways, the Bears and the Seahawks. Just be an amazing game. This is the NFC Championship no one was expecting at this point. It was like people probably thought it was gonna be the Eagles and the Commanders or something. But both these teams have a very strong case. Not making it all the way. Oh my lord. I gotta say, both these teams are very good this year. Sorry. Like these were also two teams no one expected. No one expected the Bears to be that good. Like people probably expected improvement, but not to be this good. Look where they are now. Ben Johnson's a freaking mastermind. And Seahawks, on the other hand, I thought they'd be. I mean, I'm not surprised they're a good team. I didn't think they'd be the number one seed in the NFC. It's been a very surprising year for a lot of things, but yeah. But overall, let's see what the heck is this. I'll pull up Seattle's schedule twice. What am I thinking? BRB case. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. I'm just sorry. I'm trying to find the Bears. Okay. Bears started off pretty slow this season, but they got going after that. They got crushed by the Lions. They've been really good. Yes, the Lions swept them, but who cares? We're past that. They've been very good. I mean, they've had some inconsistencies throughout the season, but they've been very good this year. They beat some really good teams. Seattle, on the other hand, they have what the good freaking lord, bro. This team is acting like crazy. The Seahawks, man, they've lost one game since like the middle of October, and that's pretty crazy. Like all three of their losses came to good teams, and they ended up beating two of those teams. So I think the team's very good. Overall, I will say that the Seahawks will win that game. Now we got Texans versus Seahawks. Both these teams are very good this year. Like I think both these teams have a very strong case to win. The Texans, I mean, they've been very, very good lately. All the losses have come in really close games. Did they play each other? Oh yes, they did. And the Seahawks actually won that game. That was towards the beginning of the season when the Texans were struggling. Start off to win games, but this Texans team I think is much better than they were back then. So yeah, overall though, it'd be an amazing game. I'm gonna say Texans win the Super Bowl. And my dad's friend, Mr. Charles, is gonna be very happy because he's a Texans fan. Yeah, there you go. That's what I think is win the Super Bowl. Here is my final playoff bracket. And we'll see if I get the wild card round correct again. So, yeah, anyways, thank y'all guys so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. Drop your playoff predictions below. And while I'm at it, I'm actually gonna give y'all the percentages of who's gonna win in this in the freaking Yahoo Sports. Okay, so fudge, dude. Oh my freaking god. So I picked the Rams to beat the car. The Panthers 72% also picked them. I said the Bears are gonna beat the Packers 65% go with them. That's a trap game for them though. I don't know about this, a trap against a playoff game, but still. Say Jacksonville beats the Bills, 48% go with them as well. I think it's valid. See how close that's close. And then Philadelphia, I think, will beat the 49ers. Actually, more people picking the 49ers to win, which is a little surprising, but can't blame them. And then I think the Patriots will beat the Chargers. Surprisingly, 72% go. I'm surprised it's not lopsided. I get it. And then I think the Texans beat the Steelers. Only 58% go them as well. I'm surprised that's that close. But yeah, I guess it is in Aqua, sure. So yeah. It's truly Heinz Field, though, let's be real. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And I say we will revisit these predictions after the Super Bowl. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe. Have a nice day. And goodbye. See you on the next one. Peace. Penis.